News on a strike happening right now at two of Rhode Island's largest hospitals.
Just a few hours ago, nurses and other union workers began walking off the job at Rhode Island and Hasbro Children's Hospitals. The union members formed a picket line after a last-minute federal mediation session failed to yield an agreement to avert the strike. And we have in-depth team coverage tonight. Eyewitness News reporter Susan Campbell's breaking down what we've learned about the replacement workers who, at this hour, are covering for the striking employees.
But first, let's get right to Steph Machado live in Providence tracking the strike itself. Steph?
Well, hundreds of those union members and their supporters are here on the streets of Providence outside Rhode Island Hospital. You can see them with their signs. We have cars driving by and honking. We've got politicians here joining them. Right now they're chanting shame on Lifespan, their parent company. And they've been on the picket line for 2 hours. They walked off the job because of a contract dispute. The strike is on as 2,400 nurses, techs, and therapists walked off the job Monday afternoon at Rhode Island Hospital and Hasbro.
We're not getting paid for what we're doing.
Hundreds marching, holding signs with messages against their parent company, Lifespan. This one says, if your stroke team is out here, how's it going in there?
We need to take care of our patients. We need nurses. We need supplies. We don't have IV pumps. We don't have pillows. We have patients that come in for surgery with no pillows to give them, and we're saying we're sorry.
We don't have enough beds in the hospital for all the patients. I take care of patients in the emergency department waiting for beds for over 24 hours. Every year we've had more and more patients. We're asked to work harder and harder, but we're not getting the raises. We're not getting the appreciation.
While the nurses are out here on the sidewalk, Lifespan has hired replacement nurses to care for patients inside the hospitals and is diverting some medical services to other hospitals. Medical emergencies like traumas, burns, and cardiac arrest will still be brought by ambulance to Rhode Island Hospital and all pediatrics to Hasbro Children's Hospital. But all other emergencies will be taken elsewhere by ambulance, including stroke patients who will not be accepted at Rhode Island Hospital. And Lifespan declined to provide anyone to speak on camera in response to the nurses' strike. They did say they are very disappointed that the union decided to go on strike. And when we've asked them multiple times about these issues of resources and staffing that you heard about in that story, and they say those issues never came up in contract negotiations. Now, coming up new at 6, we'll have more on those negotiations and what this contract dispute is all about. Live in Providence, I'm Steph Machado, Eyewitness News.
First developing news, we are now a few hours into the nurses' strike at Rhode Island and Hasbro Children's Hospitals.
Thousands of nurses started walking the picket line at 3 after last-minute negotiations failed to come up with an agreement.
This first ever strike from this particular nurses union is diverting medical services. Rhode Island Hospital is still open, but ambulances are being diverted to other hospitals except for medical emergencies like trauma and cardiac arrest. Pediatric cases are still going to Hasbro Children's Hospital, while stroke patients will be taken to one of 6 primary stroke centers in Rhode Island or, if necessary, flown out of state.
Eyewitness News reporter Steph Machado begins our team coverage live from the picket line in Providence. Steph?
Hundreds of those nurses are outside Rhode Island Hospital right now. They're picketing against their employer. They've been on strike now for 3 hours. They are planning to stay out here until Friday. This all because of a contract dispute with Lifespan. A difficult decision to walk off the job.
Many nurses were crying. All of us have a pit in our stomach. I don't know one nurse that actually slept good last night. But in the long run, we know if we don't do this, it will get worse. So
the 2,400 nurses, techs, and therapists who work at Rhode Island Hospital and Hasbro Children's Hospital decided to strike after rejecting 2 contract offers from Lifespan.
Our members resoundingly defeated it. When we brought that back to management, they offered us less of a package than the membership had already voted down. They took money off the table to pay replacement workers and gave us no choice.
Registered nurse Norman Farias is on the union's negotiating team. They were called into mediation this morning in a last-minute attempt to avert the strike, but no deal was reached. He says resources, staffing levels, and wages are the biggest issues on the table.
And we're so frustrated because they don't give us all the stuff we need to do our job.
But we are understaffed half the time. We don't have enough time to care for patients like they deserve.
Lifespan declined to speak on camera, but said in a statement, quote, "We are extremely disappointed that UNAP leadership has decided to move forward with the strike. No one wins in a strike. The hospital has offered extremely competitive wage and benefits packages. And Lifespan says those issues of resources and staffing never came up in contract negotiations. In fact, they say it wasn't part of the union's counter offer this morning. Now, the union will not tell us exactly what they're asking for, including what they're asking for wage increases, but they say they want their wages to be competitive and fair. Now, this strike is going to continue until Friday. The nurses say they will go back to work on Friday with or without a deal, but then they will still have to go back to the table to try and negotiate a contract. Live in Providence, I'm Steph Machado, Eyewitness News.